Hi, my name is Chasse Rehwinkel, and I'm the Acting Director of Banking for the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. We are one of 4 divisions at this agency. We specialize in banking regulation. We're actually split between 2 different items. One is state banks, which look at state bank charters. We have roughly 300 banks that we regulate here in the state of Illinois. And then we also regulate non-depository mortgage lenders, student loan servicers, and pawnbrokers. We have roughly 100 staff that take the time to review the risk and safety of these entities here throughout the state of Illinois. A credit score is a privately determined score that determines your credit worthiness. It was developed by a private company called Fair Isaac & Company, also known as FICO, in 1989. And it has been used by the industry for lenders and for people that are monitoring borrowing since that time period as the primary use to figure out what potential risk is posed by lending money to consumers. There are 3 major national credit bureaus that keep track of your score, and based on their monitoring, your score can change depending on what they are looking at. Those are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Your credit score is actually a range between 300 and 850, and those are broken down into 5 different areas: very poor, poor, fair, good, and excellent. Very poor is between 300 and 499. Poor is between 500 and 600. Fair is 601 to 660. Good is 661 to 780. And excellent is 781 to 850. Between very poor and poor, that makes up roughly 26% of credit-worthy individuals in the United States. And about 23% are in the excellent category. The rest fall in the middle between good and fair. What goes into your credit score are a few different factors. First is your payment history. So that's the first thing that any lender wants to know, is whether or not you've paid past credit accounts on time. This helps a lender figure out what amounts of risk they're willing to put onto you. That represents about 35% of your FICO credit score. The next group is accounts owed or amounts owed. So if you have a heavy debt burden, you become a riskier borrower. That makes up about 30% of your credit score. Then you have your length of credit history. The longer that you have been in the credit borrowing space, the better you can do in terms of your credit score. That gives you a long track record of dealing with different lenders. That's about 15% of your credit score. Then you have your credit mix, which is the different types of accounts that you've worked on. You might have credit cards, you might have retail accounts, you might have installment loans. Those all add up to an assessment within your credit mix, and that's about 10%. And then new credit is your final piece of your score, and that's also 10%. And that's opening several different new credit accounts at once or in a short amount of time. That can build on your credit and that looks risky to different borrowers. So that makes about 10%. Your credit score is important because all of the factors that go into whether I want to borrow a house, take out a student loan, or start a new business are judged across your credit score by a borrower, bank, a non-depository that takes a look at these factors before they want to assign an interest rate or lend you at all. It's hard to move on and get loans throughout your career without having a strong credit score. And it can be very difficult to get adequate housing or inexpensive lending materials if you have a poor credit score. Like we said previously, changes to your credit non-payment, missed payments, changes in forbearances, or items like that can have a negative impact on your credit score overall in a normal period of time. However, during this COVID period, many different creditors and federal agencies have come in to try to pause and put a disaster code onto your credit score so that it won't be impacted by any items that have been prudent or necessary during this period in order for you to make it through the pandemic period. That doesn't mean, however, that mistakes don't happen. There could be a situation in which your credit actually becomes negatively downgraded through no fault of your own due to a mistake in the system in judging your credit due to non-payment or delayed payment. Because mistakes can happen, not just during the COVID period, but in general, it's important to keep checking your credit score and be diligent about making sure everything that is going into it is accurate. Many of your banks allow you to check your score once a week for free using online platforms, as long as you're a member of that bank. You can also go to any of the 3 credit bureau websites and check your score. Those bureaus, again, are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You could also check through sites like creditkarma.com. They might not be as accurate, but they are free most of the case. But they do not use the same collection of information that TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. Besides credit scores, there are also credit reports. These don't give you your score specifically, but they detail your credit history, which includes like late payments, missed payments, things like that. And if you notice something wrong with your credit report, you can get that adjusted to make sure that your credit score is accurately a reflection of your payment history. You are also able to, through annualcreditreports.com, check your score once a week for free through this COVID period. It's good to check on that website for all the details that you might have if you're trying to get information for free around your credit score during this time. If you notice a mistake on your credit score, it's helpful to contact the bureau that produced the credit score to make sure that you start correcting those items. You may have to contact the lender that issued the mistaken credit score, and that could happen through a similar name mistake, different numbers. Sometimes things get stuck in your credit that have no business, that just was an individual that was making a mistake and including you in different files. So you can contact a bureau. They usually fix those within a month to 2 month period. It's good to constantly be contacting with your lenders to make sure they're giving updated information as you do payments, especially if there's some dispute in the past. It's not impossible for you to have to hire outside help in order to fix your credit score. But that is usually a last resort if there is a dispute on the credit. If you're still confused or worried about your credit, or concerned just in general about lending during this period, you can always call the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau at 855-411-2372. The number again is 855-411-2372. There are many experts at the CFPB that work specifically in credit and debt and are able to work through with you any issues within your report. Additionally, you can go to our website at IDFPR.com, where we have a number of different guidances related to both your credit and other items during this period of COVID.